Alright, we're back. I had to go outside and look at all the hail. It was almost like snow out there. Alright, so now we got work on our kicker cover here. So we're going to make sure all this is good. Nut appears to be tight. Okay, we got a lot of in-play right in here on this. Now what you want to make sure is this lever right here is in the middle center line of the gear here, because that's where it's going to sit over our transmission over here. So this bearing sits right on top of this here, so you want the lever to be right in the middle of this bearing when it works, not hanging down low, rubbing on the damn thing. Makes them work better. So if you look at this lever right in here, you can see it's all worn away on the bottom in here. All that copper there is kind of worn away, and that's because it's sitting too low. See, it's way off the center. It's sitting down here. It should be way over here, about right there probably. Oop, get over here, we can see it better. So right now it's way down this way. So it's roughly about the thickness of a regular washer off. So I'm going to pull this out, see if we can find a washer to put in there. It should center things up better and eliminate that wear on the bearing, which doesn't really need to be there to be done, so we'll fix it. Okay. Let's see if we can get to this thing here. Flat back a little bit so it's better. Doesn't want to come up. Alright. Step up the force a little bit. It's going to come out at some point. It's just a matter of how much damage is going to get done doing it. Sure if that helped in there or not. There we go. Get it with the dikes. Twist it up like that, stuff it up. Okay. That just like fell out almost. Okay, so there's our shafts. We need a washer that goes over this. That's not too thick. So I think our best bet is the little stainless washers I got laying over here. That'll work. Give me a nice selection of hardware here. So we need some stainless washers here. Down here. Yeah, it looks like that'll do the job right there. Perfect. It's about the right thickness, hopefully. Come on, gravity. Gravity doesn't want to help me now. Come on. It didn't help at all, it fell out. Okay. It still looks pretty close now when you look at it. Oop, down a little lower. Looks like it's on center with this now. So that's a plus. So I can live with that. And this one here goes on the bottom again down here. I'm going to put our cotter key back in here. Bend it a little bit. That did not go in. It split on me. I'm going to bend a little bit, try to make it stay in one piece. I could go get a new one, but why do that? Okay, spread it out a little bit. There you go, it's in there. Now, unlike the E-clips, cotter pins don't break and fall out. So once you get that in there, it's in there for good. Okay, so this one here is good to go. Catches on the tip over there on the other side a little bit. Bend it over a little bit further. Now it clears. Just hitting on the back side and underneath in there. It never goes that far, but don't have to worry about it now. So now we're on the center line dimension there. It looks pretty good, so we're good. Okay. Now we can try to put this thing together. That ought to be fun. Okay, so I don't like lock washers on these. Get the light where you can see better. I like little flat washers. Customer picked me up some flat washers here. These are going to look pretty big. They fit. So you got the cover right here. Flat washer is a lot bigger than what the nut is, see? So it's kind of weird with big ass washers on there. So I like this little AN washers. It's just a little stainless AN washer, so it won't rust. And when you put on the cover, it doesn't stick up way on the, we're all big on the outside of it. Whereas these ones here do. See, they stick way up in the air, look like crap. So there's a difference in size between them, see? Big difference. Some of these AN washers, I like them better. For this application, they're better. For other ones, they're not. We got brand new zinc plated hardware. We'll try not to use a lot of chrome in this bike, so that's what we're going to do. That's why I stocked this stainless hardware. I like it for this reason. I don't like it because it's stainless, I like it because it's small. And there's 9. It takes 9 to do it. Oop. So we got 9 out here right now. Okay, so now I got to goop all this up, put this together. Now we don't have a kicker spring on here yet. tools. Okay, here's our kicker spring. Make sure you put that on correctly. Go backwards. Okay, this goes on to here. Oh, I can't think today. I can't remember which way this thing goes. Well, I got 50-50 chance of being correct. We know it goes on there. It's going the wrong way. 50% chance of being right means there's 100% chance of me doing it wrong. There. Okay, flip it over and do it the correct way this time. Okay. Goes that way. Yep, now the kicker returns back. We gotta wind this around. So we got a half a turn of wind up on here. Okay, it's wound up. This has a genuine gear on it, so it has a stop that holds it. Otherwise you'd have to hold it. It's going the right direction and everything. It makes it a little bit easier to put these together when they're being held the correct spot. Makes it a lot easier actually. Alright, let's see here. Crescent wrench is gone. There it is. There's my crescent wrench. Okay, so you need a push rod. Now these ones here, they just pop in the bearing and they can come in and out as they want, it doesn't matter. So I like having the push rods here to make it easy to put together. So you gotta make sure this here notch goes where the bearing goes. This will go on there pretty easily. I'm in the right spot anyway. There you go. Push rod goes through it. Like that. That'll hold it. Now right now there's no oil in this thing, so it's dry. So we need to put something here we can get in here with oil relatively easily. Need a little bit of oil in there. I like using cable lube. It's thin, it gets in there and it thickens up once it's in there. But you can get down inside the slot there. Do that a couple times. Alright. So that's now well lubed. So it's not dry in there now. And that'll thicken up later. So it'll be alright. Now the bearing has to go behind the kicker gear to go and to assemble it. It has to go, you can't put this straight on because it hits the bearing, so it has to go underneath here. So what I do is I shove it out so you can do that. So you put the bearing out here a little ways like that, stick the cover around it and then slide it in with the gear. So that's why I put the push rod way out here. Just like that. Hopefully it'll go back into it no problem. So it'll be a little bit of a pain in the ass to do it, but not too bad. Alright, so we need a little lubricant here. So we're getting our gasket cinch here. So go ahead and snot up the gasket surfaces here so we can put it together. Okay. Do the same thing to cover here. There we go. And I do the gasket also. Okay, so this one has the silicone on the one side, but I'm still going to snot it up. So we're going to snot up the whole thing to make sure it doesn't leak. There we go. Okay, now this guy can go in both directions. It will go on. Only one way is correct though. So you got to make sure that the undercut here matches how the case is undercut. Otherwise it overlaps and only gets about half the gasket on there. So it looks like this one's going to go on upside down like this. So that means the silicone's for the inside, not for the outside. So if you look at the gasket under here, see how it matches the case here, and over here it matches through here. This one just goes straight across that hole right there. That's why I want to plug that hole, because it could leak out through here, remember? So that's how the gasket's supposed to be. See, like I said, it will go on either way, but it's only made to go one way, but it can go on either way, and it actually seals both ways most of the time. Not always, most of the time. Okay, so now we're going to try to put this thing on here. You got to make sure this lever is back over here where it belongs. We're going to put a little bit of lubricant on the fork there. A little bit of grease here. Lay that right on the tip over here so it's not dry. Okay, this goes about like this. Okay, so now we just got to get all this to line up. Go on the inside of the gear here, slip it in, slide it straight in. And we're going that far. I got to go down with the kicker just a little bit to get past the stop. Should go in. Of course, it doesn't want to. Still up on the throwout bearing right now. Yeah. So, problem is I'm not on the ball bearing or the throwout bearing. Where did it go to? Okay, this is a notch went way the hell up here. It should be down here. So I'm going to turn this until it's straight up and down. So that ball bearing goes right in here. The bearing is so stiff it doesn't want to overcome it. Just slide on. See, it's sliding on all the way right now. Okay, let's try it again. Same problem. There we go. Yep, yeah, it's fighting me. Okay, just make it overcome it. Okay, so the problem we have right now is these studs are so short, we have no room for washers. See how short these studs are? So you barely have, you only have a full nut on these things here, see? They're not even full nut. See how short these things are? So I'm going to have to Loctite these, each one, which I don't like doing. And just run them in the washers. That's how these stock studs are way, way short. Wonderful. Blue Loctite. Oop. Spilled a little bit. It's alright, we know how to use that again. Yeah, there's no damn way we can do this with this nut, these bolts. There's like 2 threads there. Alright, so we're not going to be able to make this work this way. We're going to get these studs further out. Studs are just too damn short. So I have to go through every one of these and measure them and make sure they come out further. Can't put together this way. So these short studs are just too damn short. It's hide up in the gear. The kicker gear I think is bound up there. Okay, so we have to measure these studs, see what they are. They need to stick out a lot more than we got, that's for damn sure. Okay, they need to be at least 3/4 of an inch out, bare minimum. And we are definitely nowhere near that. Realistically, they need to be more than that. So if we take a nut and put it on the cover and measure it, we get an overall width here. With no washer, 3/4 inch would be flush. Oop. Down, you can actually see what I just did. So you go like that. 3/4 inch is just flush with the edge of this. So with no washer, 3/4 inch is our lowest number we can run. Right now we're 1/16 under that number, so I got to pull every one of these out further to get what we need. So that's going to be a fun job. one. Okay, let's see what that looks like on here. So that's 3/4 inches flush, so it looks good. No extra for anything. That's our minimum dimension. Okay, so I get to do that for all of these. What fun! So you're going deep enough you can see the end of the stud. Hold the inner nut, tighten up the outer one. Then you unscrew the outer one to get to your 3/4. We got there. And you pull everything off. As you're going to get to it again, and we're right at 3/4 there. So that was what, about 3/4 of a turn to almost a turn I unscrewed it? I think it's about a turn. Alright, so I gotta do that for all of them. So we'll be back. Alright, got the studs all set up where they belong. So I gotta regoop up the gasket area. Some fresh sealer on there. Nice little delay there and get this together. Oh well. Goop up all the nuts here. Got access to them right now. Oop. Okay. So I went up changing out one stud here on the bottom. It was too short. So we stuck a longer one in there. So this is the factory stud here. This here is the one of the exhaust pipe studs for Nevo. There's a lot of variation of these things when you buy them, believe me. So you can see how this one here is a little bit longer on both ends, about 1/8 inch longer on both styles of the stud. On the fine thread and the coarse thread side. So anyway, that gave me the length I needed to get the job done. Alright. So I need to try this again. Okay. Kicker gear mesh is off. There it goes. I assume the ball bearing is the other problem. jammed up right now. Figures. Oh, that ain't working. Go. No, it's all the way on. I think I stood this bad down there. Yeah, it's hard on my fingers. Okay. Working. That's working too. Okay, everything's lined up now. So okay. Okay, get a couple of those all down. Double check this again. This is your clutch lever right here working. Drop bearing. That's good. Check the kicker gear. Kicker again, make sure it goes all the way around. Perfect. So there we go. It all fits. So I'm going to get all these nuts pulled in tight. Okay. You don't want to torque these too much because the transmission studs are only so strong. So you have to be careful tightening these. About that much torque. Probably only about 15 foot-pounds, I bet. So, get those are all torqued now. Double check. Yeah. You need to torque the piss out of every one of these because there's a lot of them here, so. Like if you strip out a stud, you'll be a problem. Alright. This one here, use a box wrench on this one because this clutch shaft is in the way. There we go. Okay, so double check again. Looks good. Kicker. Looks good. over here I'm holding the shaft over here with my fingers. See how the keyway goes around here when you go around? Then you hold it. There's the ratchet not working now. What the hell happened? Alright, something happened. There it goes. I don't know what the hell that was. The ratchet gear wouldn't release for some reason. It locked in. Okay. So when you hold the shaft, the ratchet just pops pop, and that's what that noise is. Okay, so that all looks good. On these early trimmers, you can pull this thing out of here, not to worry about, because it's held on over that side. So before this goes back in, we got to lube the snot out of this thing and shove it in. I'm gonna leave it out now because it'll just fall out. Like I said, flat bearing, wafer bearing style, you have to, that push rod don't come out. At least it's not supposed to. Okay, so let's see, we got a couple things left to do. We got to put a plug right here, which is a brand new one. You know, I'm not much for putting these stupid O-rings in here like they put on these things. Right here. You can either leave them in or take them off. My opinion is if you can't tighten it down, it's not tight. They come with them. There's no room for them in there. So if you tighten it down, either squeeze the rubber out and cause a problem, or if it doesn't tighten all the way up, the rubber can collapse on you, get hard, and then this thing can unscrew out of here. So it's up to you whether you want to leave them or not. If you take it completely out, it bottoms out against the cover like it's supposed to. That's how they were. They always still seeped a little bit, big deal. Depends on what you want for the bike. So if you leave it in there, you got to keep an eye on them. Okay, the last thing to do is the drain plug on the bottom under here, which we never put in, because they don't want to scrape it all up. So we got a brand new one right here. Goes. Can't see what I'm doing down here. I'm trying to get the copper sealing washer out of here without destroying it. There we go. Okay, so this here goes around the shoulder that's right here. It keeps the seal where it belongs, so it can't slide off one way or the other. If you put it on like this and tighten it down, it's able to slide off like that, and it would leak. See how far it can slide? If it goes past the shoulder, it will leak. That's the problem. You put a regular washer on these things too. So if you have the special one that goes like that, this keeps it centered, then it will seal up like it's supposed to. So as long as you do them correctly, they work all right. Now usually what I do on these, I put a little bit of 3-bond on them so they won't leak. But you can still pull them out. Makes it nice and messy too. So you put a little bit on the threads, a little bit on the sealing surface, and I put the washer on there, put some more on there. Makes it nice and messy, gooey mess, and when you put together, it makes more of a mess. But it won't leak. There you go. Okay, now that should be a 5/8, I recall. Wipe off the excess right now before we get the wrench full of it. Okay, and then put a little torque on it, like this. That's pretty good torque. Wipe anything off you want, and then you're good to go. Alright, there's one completed tranny. If you don't slide around too much on, it'll stay coated. If you keep sliding around, it'll be bare metal under there. Alright, so there's what your complete tranny looks like. All done. Easy bolt together. Yeah, sure. Alright, that's it for now.